Often in programming, we use school-level mathematics to solve a number of different problems. When it comes to solving expressions, we always fall back on BODMAS to decide on the order of operations. Here's a refresher explaining the rule along with an example. When we are solving an expression, it is extremely important that we follow the same rule. Let's say we want to solve the expression 5 plus 3 multiplied by 2. Now, if you don't follow the same rule, I could do the addition before the multiplication while you do the other way around. Let's say I calculate by adding 5 and 3 and then multiplying it by 2. My result would be 16. You, on the other hand, multiply 3 and 2 and then add 5 to it. Your answer would be 11. Technically, we both did the operations correctly, but the order in which we did it gave us different answers. Unfortunately, that'll leave the world of mathematics in utter chaos. Hence the rule of BODMAS. So what does this rule say? BODMAS is basically an acronym that tells us the order to follow. B stands for brackets. Whatever lies within the brackets should be calculated first. Now, based on which part of the world you have done your schooling in, the second letter O could either represent order or off. And in some cases, it could be I representing indices. This is if you are accustomed to the BIDMAS rule. Now, order and indices typically talk about exponents or powers, but off includes a few more operations such as fractions and percentages. So in this case, it will be 2 to the power of 3, 2/3 of 120, and 50% of 90. D and M stands for division and multiplication, and they belong at the same level in terms of priority. So if you have an expression where division and multiplication operators are next to each other, group them and calculate them from left to right. Similarly, A and S stands for addition and subtraction, and they too are at the same level in terms of priority. Just like division and multiplication, if you have an expression with addition and subtraction next to each other, group them together. And just as before, start from the left and work your way to the right. So the overall idea is go from top to bottom, and in the same group, go from left to right. Also, when you're solving an expression inside brackets, treat it as a separate expression and apply the BODMAS rule till you get the answer and replace it in your original expression. It'll get clarified when we solve an example. Alright, so let's take this example. Now, in this expression, you can see that we have covered pretty much all the different operators that we have just looked at. And looking through the expression, we see that there are two sets of brackets. So based upon the BODMAS rule, we are going to start with these two sets of brackets. So let's take the first group and treat it as a separate expression. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 43 minus 8 plus 3 to the power of 3 and process it first. So again, based upon the rule, we should calculate the power first. So 3 to the power of 3 is 27, and this equation simplifies into 43 minus 8 plus 27. Now, if you look at this, we have just addition and subtraction in this expression right now. And if you remember, addition and subtraction are both part of the same group. So we need to follow the left to right rule, and calculating it, you get the result 62. Okay, let's take the next expression, which is within the brackets, and treat it as a separate one. 5 to the power of 2 plus 2 to the power of 2 minus 1. We'll resolve the powers first, which comes to 25 plus 4 minus 1. Calculating that using the same left to right rule for the addition and subtraction group, we get 28. So now that we have the results of the brackets, we're going to replace the brackets with their results in the main expression. So what our main expression becomes once we've substituted them is as follows. 62 divided by 2 plus 5 minus 28 plus 7 minus 10 divided by 2. Now if we take a look at this expression, there are two sets of division and multiplication groups. The first group is 62 divided by 2 multiplied by 5, and the second group is 10 divided by 2. So based upon the BODMAS rule, we need to calculate the division and multiplication group first. So we'll pick up the first one and calculate it. Now within this group, we need to take the left to right rule. So 62 divided by 2 gives us 31, and multiplied by 5 gives us 155. Now we'll replace this in the main equation. Minus 28 plus 7 minus, now we need to calculate the next group, which is 10 divided by 2, and that resolves to 5. Now we end up with an equation which is just addition and subtraction. So we're going to follow the left to right rule and we get the answer 29. And there you go. We start off with a big expression with lots of different operators, and then following the BODMAS rule we simplify it and get the answer 29. The BODMAS rule introduces a couple of concepts which are very helpful in programming. Firstly, you can see how breaking down a complex problem into smaller pieces can help us solve it. You take a part of the problem, solve it, and plug the result back into the main problem and then solve that. Secondly, it also tells us how order of operations matter. In the future, if you decide to take up graphics programming, you will have to set up scenes where you'll need to do operations such as rotations and translations. You'll realize that the order in which you do these operations matter, because the outcome can totally differ based on how you have run them. In day-to-day programming, school-level mathematics is sufficient. My aim here was to remind you of one of the rules. If you'd like to see more such content, then do the stuff, like, subscribe, and press the bell icon. I try to come up with new videos every week. Thanks for being with me. I'll see you in the next video.